Hi everyone, welcome back into the Academy here at Chesterfield Golf Club. It's really lovely to have you along for another video. Thank you very much for everyone's support. I really appreciate everyone's liking and subscribing and the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you as much as you can. Any questions, I'd love to hear from you. This video is all about what I think is one of the best exercises for elite golfers, because you'll see a lot of my videos I'm going on about how we need to kind of slow this down for the more of the club golfer. So you see a lot of club golfers, they have too much work going on in their top half, and they need to encourage more of an arm swing. This is similar, but obviously you see a lot of elite golfers. If you go to a professional tournament, you see a lot of pro golfers doing this type of rotational kind of pivot exercise. This one changed my, not career, because my career was probably over by the time I kind of found this, but it definitely saved my longevity of playing golf and being a bit more consistent. I'm much more of a consistent golfer now than I was when I was playing. But yes, so now I've turned into someone who plays golf with not a lot of spin on the golf ball, because what I've got is connection in the right areas. Now, what I thought was connection back in the day when I was young, or was something that I had to keep my arms and my hands, my arms into my chest all the way through the golf swing. Now, that's incorrect. You've seen a lot of my videos going on about how much we need to have some room for our arms to work. This exercise is making sure our connection, which happens kind of from your hands from about here through to about hip height. So it's basically hip height to hip height is where you need connection. Let me just square this mat up so I'm not all skew whiff on you. So remember, connection, where connection happens is nowhere near the top of the backswing, still halfway down, your right elbow starts to come into your side, but then on the follow through and into impact, that's where the connection happens. So that's what I worked on for years and years and years, well, months and months, not really. It took me about a year or two to kind of get my head around it, understand it. I wasn't taught it, I just kind of found it myself. So obviously if I'm finding it myself, I'm going through a bit of a trial and error. But I've kind of figured out that I've stayed on the same swing thought for 10 years now. And for me, that's a miracle that people will know me. So it's basically connection happens from hip height before to hip height after. So really everything's working in unison. Obviously the club head will be going quicker than me, but I'm working on release. So I'm working on release of my hand, my leg, and my body. Remember, there's 3 types of release. There is my hand release, and that's what I go on a lot about the club golfer. They want to introduce more hand and arm release. There's a leg and pivot with your hips and your leg. And obviously there's a body release as well. And this is what we're going to go on today. A lot of elite golfers need body release to stop the toe from rolling and hooking it. This is what this exercise is about. So on the way back down, we're going to hold and be nice and shallow. You can see from the behind view. Then we just move slightly, get that camera in the right place. Okay, from here, you're going to see what happens. My hands are out in front of me quite a long way. Club is going down my right arm. Then from here, obviously, we don't carry on. If you're a club golfer, you just want to stay nice and still and just swing your arms without really moving a lot, a little bit of kick in with your right knee. But from an elite golfer, what you need to do, and you're going to see what the club does here, you're going to pull, it's like a left pull, and your hands are going kind of towards your your left knee. So the club's doing this motion, so you can see it's never dropping under you now. So the pivot and the hand release going that way pulls the club back into the ball. And you can see it impact here, very tight. Everything's nice and tight here. And I remember seeing a video of Henrik Stenson when he won the video. Henrik Stenson, oh my God, Henrik Stenson, who won the Open that year. The BBC, I think it was the last year the BBC showed the Open, sadly. They were doing a lot of slow motion shots, and they showed Henrik Stenson hitting a 3-wood. And I always remember watching it, and he didn't have a massive leg action out the way, but I remember seeing his right arm and his right hand actually brushing just the top of his thigh here. I remember thinking, wow. So you can see the connection he's having when his hands are going this way, so close and tight. Remember, that's connection. And then you've got pivot on the way through holding that. Okay, let me just guide you through that. So halfway down, hands out, elbow out in front of me, club behind me, and we're getting our hand release, pulling our hands into our body, keeping the body quite passive for now, and then on the follow through we're really pivoting as hard as you can. So you can see from the behind view now, if I'm matching that movement up with a pivot, you can see from the behind view the club's still out in front of me, and you can see from the front view that I've pretty much completed my pivot. Obviously I won't do that hitting a shot, but you can see I'm fully pivoted as much as I can with the club out, right arm still connected to my body. It's a fantastic exercise to release. So the hands are going back in towards me and I'm pivoting. I haven't got the hands going away from me. Remember, for the club golfer who slices, don't do this. You need the hands to go away from you more. But for the elite golfer who hooks it and tends to leak it a little bit to the right and pushes it, this is a fantastic one. Get the hands going back into your body, really tight here in a good way, not tension obviously, but there's connection now. Elbow, top of my left arm, and I'm really holding that pivot as much as I can. So I'm stopping that club going away from me too much and flipping. So really feel like you can really rotate hard on it. Nice and shallow, as much as you can. And weirdly, that took me a winter to get used to that, because I was never used to hitting it with a pivot. And you can see when I hit one and stop this time, hold, making sure it's shallow, looks pretty good to me. Hands coming back in, and then hold that, look at that position from the side view. Fully kicked in, but I'm completed my pivot. So there's no flicking behind here, and that's what I had for years and years and years. Bad back, you might have seen in a previous video. So the next move from there is not stopping at all, but we're going to stop halfway through again. As much as you can. Look how much that club is out. Nice and smooth. Remember, you're shallow, nice and wide, shallow in, hands coming back into your body, really tight into here. And now you've got hold of that club face by your pivot. No flicking whatsoever. Remember, drill in between drill and full shots as much as you can. It's an absolute no-brainer of an exercise. If you're suffering from a hook and you want more consistency, that is what you need to do. You need to be shallow, and then you need to get your hands back in to your body, nice and tight here. And then you need to, steering wheel from there is a body pivot, basically your shoulders pivot, knee, foot up in the air. That's what makes it hold, that stops the toe from rolling. One more drill, bang, look at from the side view there. My shoulders have completely pivoted. Now, I won't be able to do that in the full shot for two reasons. You won't be able to, because the club's going quicker, you won't be able to pivot that quick, especially me, and me being 51 and I don't practice. But remember, you only need an element of this. You never want, remember, elite players, if you hook it, you never want your hands to be disconnected away from you. But you don't want your hands completely tight to your ear as well. You want these hands and arms away from you, back in. That takes the toe, takes spin, right to left spin off the ball. Okay, let's feel this. One more full shot. Let's really pivot hard. Give that a go. Remember, elite golfers need connection through the impact zone, nowhere else. And the pivot will hold that connection, but you need to bring these hands back into impact so everything's connected and moving at the same time. So many thanks for stopping by, watching the video. Really hope that helps. Any questions, please leave a comment and I'll do my best to get back to you. Hopefully the sun will be shining next time and we can go outside. But in the meantime, wish you well and I'll see you on the next one. Cheerio.